G'day viewers, Sep here. Today what we're going to do is we're going to make a push bike stand for the grandkids. In the last video I put together a miter saw, just sitting just over here, and we're going to use that to cut up the timbers we need to make this stand. Basically what it's going to be, I'll just put this up for you, give you an idea. It'll be 4 push bikes, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my drawing of the frame, which is going to sit flat on the ground. It'll be 1,800 millimeters long, and each of the push bike wheels will be 490 millimeters apart. So that's sort of how it's going to look. The measurement in between the outside rails will be 430 mil. Now the bikes are only small at the moment because the kids are only 6 and 4, and these ones are designed to take the bigger bikes as well, the 26 inch I suppose you'd call them. So as they get a bit bigger, they get bigger bikes, I'll be able to use the same rack. Now the timbers we're using, these ones here are 70 wide by 35 mil thick. There are 2 of these, and they'll be 1800 long. And these other ones over here, these ones are 90 mil by 35, and they're the ones we're going to cut up. We're going to need 8 of them. We'll screw them together with these type of screws. The timber screws, type 17 batten by Zenith, and they've got a hexagon shaped head. You may not be able to see that real well, and you have to have a special bit to drive them in. So basically they just fit in like that into your drill. Of course you've got to pre-drill the timbers first, as they're quite thick. They're 14 gauge. These ones are 14 gauge by 75 mil long. So that'll give us plenty of screw into the timbers to make sure they don't move and split apart. That's pretty much it. What we'll do is we're going to take the saw outside. We're going to set the saw up. Once we've got the saw set up, we'll take these timbers out and we're going to cut them all up. We're now set up outside, ready to cut these timbers, but there's just a couple of things I want to show you before we start cutting. So what I've done here, we've got to dock off 8 of these lengths of timbers at 430. So this was a little bit too short. I couldn't bring it in any closer, so I've just packed it out with a 10 mil packer. So now all we need to do, I don't need to measure these after the first one. Now I've measured. All I need to do now as we cut, we just slide each one in and butt it up. There's 2 adjustments here, and what they do, and they set the depth of the blade, how far it will go down into this groove here. You've just got to make sure when you do actually adjust it that this blade doesn't hit the bottom of the runner where it runs along in here. First cut will be a test, see how the saw performs. Don't forget to wear your safety glasses, your ear protection and gloves. Beautiful. Let's cut the rest. We finished that cutting outside, so I've brought it all back inside. I've laid it all out on the table here for you, just so you can have a look and just see what the next stage is. We still have to do a little bit more cutting, but this will give you an idea what it looks like. We've got 4, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4 bikes. So they'll come up, the wheel will go in here, hence why these are a little bit taller than the outside, so you can easily push them over and put them into here. Remember, they're only going on to 4 and 6 now, so 4 bikes gives them a bit of room in between to get them in and out because they're only little kids. So what we're going to do next is we're going to cut these timbers on an angle this way, about 100 mil in from the edge, level with the top. So we're going to do each one, there's 8 of them, and we're going to do each side, both sides, that side and this side, just to make it look a bit neater. We've marked all our pieces of wood. ready to cut. We're going to use the handsaw here. Now this is not plugged in, so you've got to be careful there with that. Don't leave the power on when you do this. We need to check the depth of the blade, which is beautiful. That's ready to go. Just put on our protective equipment. And I won't bore you with cutting a whole lot of them here. I'll cut a few, then I'll do the rest, then we'll get back to you then. All our timbers are now cut, so what we're going to do now is we're going to sand them off. So I've already just done one, just to give you a bit of an idea. This one hasn't been done, so it doesn't take long. A bit of 240 grit sandpaper, and just really just to knock the edges off there a bit. And that one's done. This is what it looks like now. I've tapered these down, these sides. I think it looks pretty neat. What we're going to do now is we're going to paint each piece of timber before we assemble it. I've been over to the shed and I've rounded up some paint, but we have got a problem. I haven't got enough paint to do the job in the one colour. We're going to have 5 different colours: orange, green, red, blue and dark red. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the outside rails dark red, and each of these internal timbers will be these respective colours. We're all set up out here to do this painting. I've got the first colour, which is green. I've just given it a bit of a stir up, and we're going to give it a try, see how we look. Hopefully it's all going to look okay. It's a bit windy out here, so I'm hoping you can hear me okay. I've actually got a windsock on the GoPro, so we'll see how it works. I'm hoping this will only take 2 coats, but being bare timber with no primer, it could take a little bit more. I've got a bucket of water here, some newspaper, so I can clean this brush, because remember we've got 5 different colours. I've got 2 brushes. We're going to give them a bit of a clean in between and see how we go. I'll put a little bit underneath, don't really need to because that's going to be on the ground. This is treated timber, but I'll put some on anyway. I'm using an old table here, it stays outside, so if a bit goes on there it doesn't really matter. The painting's now done. We're back in the shed and I'll give you a look at it. It's looking pretty good, it's come up pretty well. Next part of the job is to screw it all together. I've got all the holes now marked on our timbers, ready for drilling. I've checked the drill size to our screw. I've used a block of wood and pre-drilled. This is just an old block, just to make sure we've got the right hole size for our screw, which we have. Now, the other thing is I like to put a little bit of timber underneath the timber I'm drilling, and I drill into that, because if you don't do that, what happens, and I've done some test holes for you, what happens is the wood splits out. So I've drilled on this side down. What happens is the timbers split out like this. Sometimes they can split out really bad and it just can affect what you're doing. So okay, so we'll start some drilling. All the holes are now drilled. What we've got to do is use this countersinking tool into the drill, and we'll countersink each hole. This will be the outside of the rails, so these screws fit down flush. So you don't want to go too fast, too quick. So these tools can pull in pretty quick. So that looks like it's going to be pretty good. It'll pull in close enough to being flat. I've got this all clamped up. I'm just using a couple of pipe clamps, one there, one here, and some just quick release clamps just to hold the timbers in place. I've got it all squared up. We'll do the two N1s first. I've got a block of wood in here to get the gap correct. It's 49-50mm in between these particular blocks with exactly what we needed. Going to use the driver now with a special bit, and we'll put these 4 screws in each end. Just got to be careful that we don't overdo this with these drivers, because it's easy to strip all these type of screws out. That's the last of it. It's all screwed together. Now what we need to do is I'll take all these clamps off, have a look at it, see if I have to touch up the paint anywhere, and I'll be ready to check it with the bike. Here's the finished product. It's come up really well. I'm really happy with it. I think the kids will like it. That's it for this one. Any questions you've got, hit me up in the comments. So thanks for watching, take it easy, and see you on the next one.